Good morning. Travis here, Spread LLC, and today I'm going to be soft washing a vinyl home with a little brick on the front, a little like brick accent wall, but it's mostly 90% vinyl. In the process I'm going to be using today, soft washing, of course. My last video I was using my gas roof pump, the AR45, but today I'm going to be downstreaming this with my 8-gallon a minute machine using my Flow Pro remote downstream injector. I've already talked to the homeowner. We're working around this area. They're out of town, got some things going on, so we're not worried about all this. We're just going to work around it. We're going to hit the main spots of the home, get that all taken care of. We've got a few little spots I'm going to tape up. We got a little outlet over here, a little outlet cover. We're going to make sure to cover that up. Last thing you want is chemical getting in those outlets and popping a fuse. But not too bad. You can see here we got, this is paint flaking a little bit on there, so we'll be very careful of that. That's the shady side of the home over here. This is probably the worst side of the house, but we're going to get it all cleaned up, taken care of, get it back to its beauty, back to shining. So I'm going to get all my hoses hooked up, start feeding the water, pull my hoses out, and I'm going to start on this back side of the house and work my way around to the front. Sun's starting to come out. It's a very unusual day again in January. I think a high of like 70 today, so that's awesome. But we're gonna get it all cleaned up. I got my little ladder propped up right here to make sure that I can get up on this little balcony, which I can. So we can get that taken care of too. Get all that rinsed off. So we're gonna do it. Again, soft washing, downstreaming, using a remote downstream injector, so that when my chemical comes on the house, it'll be at about a 1.5%. It is a little bit warmer, but we got plenty of time to let it dwell, let it sit. Oh, very nice Train unit. Side note, I used to sell Train equipment, one of the best ones out there. Train, Heil. Shout out to the guys over at Spread LLC, or I'm Spread A. Shout out to the guys over at Air Solutions Heating and Cooling, who gave me my first job when I got out of the military. They took me in, trained me up on sales, and that's what I did for them for a few years, before relocating and doing some other things and then starting this. So awesome people. Two of my best friends own the company. But yeah, we'll get some outlets taped up, get these hoses pulled out, hooked up, and we're gonna get rocking and rolling on this one. All right guys, I got my water hose hooked up. My buffer tank's been filling up, and while that's been filling up, I've been taping off disconnects, outlet covers, taping off keyholes, the pads, some more outlets, just what we call property protection, just making sure all those keyholes are covered, any outlets. My ladder ended up reaching to get up here. I got my high pressure hose back to the back of the house, because like I said, I'm gonna be starting on the back and working my way forward. And I'll be using my Flow Pro remote downstream injector. That way I can cut the chemical on and off without having to walk back to the truck every time. And I bypass my hose reel and go right into my electronic bypass injector. Flow Pro's cut on, chemical cut on, and this was the unit that I used yesterday, washing that metal building you guys saw. This is my first time starting up my pressure washing unit so far this year in January. So you can see this is ice cold. This is the CRX 690. This whole trailer was built for me by the guys over at Cigar City Soft Wash in Florida. Awesome job. My own fault. I wish I would have bit the bullet at this point and got the ladder rack. So if you guys are doing it, highly recommend getting you a ladder rack. It's nice so you don't fill up the bed of your truck. But anyways, we're gonna get this going. This is the first startup. Like I said, ice cold. We got it choked. Oh yeah. Gotta love it. Everything's on. So we're gonna go to the backyard. I do have enough hose. I could have went all the way around to that far side and then worked my way back completely forward, but with this fence, I don't want to walk back and forth around. So we'll just start on the back and work our way around. And like I said, homeowner, we've already discussed everything on the patio. We're not worried about it. I'm gonna hit this wall back here the best I can without getting everything wet. But the biggest thing is the house. You can see the soffit, pretty dark. And getting all that taken care of. Oh, I need to swap that tip out. Actually, don't need a turbo nozzle just yet. Let's go get our M5 twist. That's funny. Don't use a turbo nozzle on vinyl siding. What I want is this is the M5 twist. That way you can adjust your fan. Super handy. You don't have to swap out tips or anything. And then I have the Davis shooter tip for really high reach places. Today I should be able to hit it all with the M5. There's like little to no wind. I don't think that's going to be a factor at all today. So I should be able to hit everything just with adjusting my fan pattern. All right. That was funny. All right. There we go. That's what we wanted. Start down here on this brick. Now, clay stains do not come off with bleach because that's not organic. That requires a whole different treatment. All right, so what I'm gonna do, cut on my chemical. Hear the beep, that means it's turned on. I give that time for that bypass valve to close and then pull the chemical up through the chemical injector, which will pull bleach from the tank downstream of the unit so you don't put bleach through your pressure washer pump or anything into the hose and then out of the gutter. And there's the chemical. And you can see with that, I mix my surfactant right into my chemical. I have a 100-gallon chemical tank. So I just pour the surfactant right into it. And you can see it's gonna take this off no problem. I've washed a few houses like this with this color, but you always want to do a test and make sure it's not going to have any kind of reaction to the chemical. especially some of this vinyl. For some reason, blues and yellows, some of the brighter greens tend to react funky sometimes with the chemical, but I haven't had a problem with it. But I do like to check it and watch it, especially if it's a house that I haven't washed yet. This is a new customer of mine. And I'm actually in my hometown today of, well, this is Dazzle, but Dazzle, Sumter, that whole area is kind of, I can bind it into one area, Shaw Air Force Base. This is where I grew up. I still have family here, so I'll make the hour drive and come wash houses in my old neighborhoods. And then I go and see family out of it, so we usually make a day out of it. Or sometimes I'll just say hello when they know I'm in the neighborhood and shoot on back. Something else for you new guys that are just starting out on vinyl homes. Where your vinyl laps, you can see the overlap is on the outside facing to the left. When you're rinsing, you want to go with the direction that the vinyl is installed on the house, and that'll help from getting run out and all the stuff that's behind those panels over the years from washing back out. And under the vinyl, you might notice little tiny holes. Those are called weep holes. Those are designed for water and stuff to come out of them. That's their purpose, so you don't trap moisture between the wall and the vinyl. And sometimes you'll get debris washing out with it if you hit it with like really high pressure. So just watch your fan tip. Just kind of be mindful of where you're at. And you should be good to go. I'm gonna get all the way up in that soffit. You don't really want to spray directly into the soffit, just kind of get the chemical on there because you don't want it to potentially go through and into the attic, especially if it wasn't done super well. Now this side of the house we can do a majority of the whole back and then work our way to the front. It's still early morning, so it's still a little cooler outside. You can see a little bit of wind blowing that back towards us. And I just start from the bottom and work my way up to the top. Try to get the outside edge of that gutter. Now with downstreaming, you will potentially need a little bit more dwell time than using your gas roof pump or your 12-volt system, where your chemicals can get a little hotter, meaning a stronger bleach mix. Whoop. But that's okay. You don't want to go real hot on vinyl. Not like with metal or anything like that. Sorry, I'm trying to get that sun in the camera. And you can see on this side, now the vinyl's kind of going the other way. So just kind of watch that. Now this side the sun is hitting on the most, and I don't want that to dry while I'm waiting for this to dwell and then start rinsing. So I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna let this sit, and then I'm gonna rinse it, because I don't want my chemical to dry on that vinyl siding. Just kind of touching up those spots a little bit. Now what I might do, actually what I'm going to do is, because that's in the shade and a little bit cooler, is I'm going to go ahead and do this side, rinse this side. That side will still be wet. And then go back and rinse it all together. Yeah, M5's reaching it, no problem. Don't need to put on the other tip. Cut this back to rinse. I'll have a little bit of chemical left in the line. There we go, got all the soap out of the line now. Just gonna hit these bushes a little bit. And we just start rinsing. Like I said, this side obviously gets all the sun. It's really not that bad. Maybe a couple of little gnats start trying to form putting their eggs all in the soffit. A little bit of wind coming back, but that's okay. So I apply the chemical from the bottom up. So chemical bottom up, rinse top down, just like with a car. And sometimes you can apply a chemical top down. The biggest thing is just making sure that you are covering the surface area and everything's getting treated. And you can see as I'm rinsing, I'm following how that vinyl is overlapped so that we don't get all up between the wall. There you go, that side's done, rinsed, looking good. So that'll give this shady side adequate time to dwell. And these soffits aren't like white colored soffits, they're kind of a beige color, but they do already look so much better. And we're gonna start rinsing it. And I'm gonna start on the other side because I see those vinyl pieces. Aha. So there's like a halfway point where they change directions on me. So we'll rinse this side. like this, and then we'll come over here like this and get this side. As you can see, I'm just going from the top, working my way back down. And you can see this isn't a lot of pressure. I can put my hand in front of there. It's just the volume give you good reach. That's what you want. So if you guys are watching this and you're thinking about starting a pressure washing company, you're looking at equipment, when you're downstreaming, soft washing, roof washing, PSI isn't what's important. What you want to look at is your gallons per minute. You want volume of water. You don't want high velocity of water. And what I'm using, again, is an 8 gallon a minute. It's probably somewhere between 3,800, 4,000 PSI. Which with house washing, you know, not a big thing there. You don't, again, PSI isn't what you want to focus on. What you want to focus on is your gallons per minute. And if you're just starting out, and you can get by just fine with a 4 gallon a minute machine. Just might take you a little bit longer. And you can do what I call like bare bonesing it. Hey, you starting out, you got to put your bleach into a pump up sprayer, spray it all with a pump up sprayer and your ladder. You got to start somewhere. Don't think you have to go spend $30,000, $40,000 to get started. I mean, hey, if you got it, great, but you don't have to. All right, now I'm gonna come in here and with this wide fan and kind of just again, can't really put any soap or anything in here with the furniture and plants, but some dog food and stuff, so we'll just work around that area. All right, this side's all rinsed. Looking good. One little spot here. All right. This side's done drying. Don't panic when your siding looks like this. That's not splotchy. You didn't do anything wrong. That is just the pieces of the vinyl. This side's already drying quicker than the front. That's all that is. So don't worry when you're taking your pictures. You're like, what is all this? That's normal. That's just it drying. Just in good measure, just giving it another quick little rinse. You can never rinse too much. All right, and I'm by myself, so I gotta get to be my own hose man too. All right. All right, so I'm gonna get my hoses back situated. Come do this other side because it's the shady side of the house and it's the worst side of the house, so we're gonna get that taken care of right now. Go ahead and rinse down these plants while I'm walking around. I mean, almost everything still dormant, but it has been unusually warm this time of year. As you guys can see, this is the worst side of the home because it just simply catches the shade all day. So that's where that stuff thrives, all that algae, mildew, fun organic growth as we call it. All right, soap's on. Now we're getting a little bit more wind through here. Between the houses kind of forms like a Venturi effect, I guess. Oh my gosh.
Shoot.
Neighbor just scared me and I'm on camera.
I didn't want to scare you.
I'll give you 1 second. All right, that was awesome. The neighbor just came up and asked if I can do his house next. I said absolutely, but I did not hear him coming behind me, and he scared the crap out of me. Oh man. All right. That was awesome. And on camera. So I will not be editing that out. That was too awesome. I'm just kind of playing into the wind here to get up on that top soffit. I keep laughing at myself about that. Well, I'm glad I got the other job, but whew, scary. All right, we're gonna let that sit. You can see that lichen and all that on this side as well, already turning white. We'll get all that off, no problem. I'll just let that sit and dwell, and then I'm gonna come back and start working on this front side while that's sitting in this shade. sure my camera is recording. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so now I'm going up. Working in that sun is not, or wind, I mean, sorry. Not fun. Get this van rinsed up. I hear freedom flying in the background. bagged up all his lighters and everything for him. Rinse this off. Paint on that railing starting to flake kind of bad, so that's why I told her I would just rinse up here. Not much you can do with the wood at that point without damaging. Here we go. Going down. Get a towel, make sure my you guys probably just got blurred out on that whole process. There you go. Oh, sorry about that, guys. All right. Top. Got the soap back on. Now up top did dry a little bit on me. It's okay, we just hit it with soap again. The nice thing is on this bottom part, we don't have to go underneath there. We can hit all the sides without getting soaking wet on the patio. All right, let's see how we're looking over here. Probably need to hit it again. It's pretty heavy buildup, but you can see where it's all turned white now. And give that another coat of love. It's on there pretty good, folks. So what I might do with this, since that is a little bit thicker with just this downstreaming, is I'm gonna go get my gas roof pump and get a little hotter mix going on that. All right, let's kick back over to rinse. I'm just rinsing off some of this buildup. washing all this down. Some of that's just paint failing. One thing in this area is there is a lot of clay. And all these new constructed homes, that clay just sits there during building. Doesn't always get rinsed right away, and then it just turns into a mess. And these mud daubers too. I don't know if you guys could see that or not coming out of there. They had to leave for an appointment, so we'll work around this car, keep it rinsed off for them. That's no problem. I like that van though. I like them passenger vans. Now let's see how this is looking. We'll rinse what we can, and then I'm gonna go back over it with the AR-45 and get it hotter. definitely not a fan of having to go at this angle, because then you hit those little weep holes and it can sometimes cause more of a mess than what you wanted, just from everything that gets back behind those pieces of vinyl. You can see it starting to come off. It's going to take a good bit of rinsing. If you guys are new to my channel, you're probably going to notice that all of my how-to videos, my washing videos, they're going to be long because I don't want to do any editing. I want to show raw footage of, you know, what it's like a day in a life sometimes. And like right now, this one's going to take a little longer, just with the buildup of this moss and lichen and all that on the sides. It's not always going to be a 40-minute house wash. You know, sometimes it's 2 hours. So, speaking of which, let me check my battery. So I got about an hour left of filming. I've been going about 24 minutes since my run-in with the neighbor. But we're gonna keep rinsing. Let me get this camera back on my big old head. All right. Ooh, that is a lot of rinsing. I gotta have my buffer tank filled back up. Alright, so I am gonna pause my video right here. because I'm gonna let my buffer tank catch back up. Been a lot of rinsing with that lichen, that moss. With that moss and mildew, that's taking a lot of water, a lot of rinsing. So I'm gonna let that water tank fill back up and then get back to it. All right, guys. So, oh, sorry, got my camera back on. So some of this is still sticking pretty good, but it's starting to come off. So I've been letting it sit. I did cut the camera off because I'm not currently washing. It was a lot of rinsing. And like I said, I've been letting my buffer tank fill back up, and then we'll get back after it. So I haven't hit it with the AR yet, since now it is starting to wash off fairly decent, starting to wipe off now that it's sit for a little while. Grab my ladder here. And I am going to be doing the neighbors' houses next, but just kind of see right here where it's been a little thicker. Now it's been sitting for a little while. Oh yeah, it's starting to wipe off now. It just needed that little extra dwell time. Another hit of chemical. So I think when I do the neighbor's house, I will go ahead and just hit it with a stronger mix to begin with. So, but nice to get a couple jobs while I'm here. So that's exciting. All right, I'm gonna start this up and start rinsing a little bit more now that I got it catching up a little bit. All right, gonna get loud for a second. Alright. We're gonna hit it with some hot sauce. We're gonna hit it with some hot sauce and see if this don't speed it up. And if you're wondering why I put that in the top when I have a quick connect, it's on a 3/4. It really needs to be a 1/2 inch. I think it needs to be a 3/4 or 1 inch. So it kind of chokes on the water side a little bit. So that's why I got that in there. Fuel on choke. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. Turn up my PSI a little bit because I'm trying to reach so much higher. So I'm not really doing like a top and bottom, I'm just kind of hitting where these real bad spots are. And just letting this stronger mix sit on there. Hopefully break it off a little easier. That moss and all that is built up on there really, really good. And it is being stubborn. Kind of maxing out my reach here on this one, but hopefully this is going to do the trick, which I feel very confident that it's going to. We're going to let that sit. Cut my pressure washer back on. Let's see how this is going to go. If you guys stuck with me this long, I greatly appreciate it, and watching how this job really goes down on some days. Some days you can knock out one of these houses in maybe 30 minutes or so. This neighbor next door, I'm going to put a card on theirs too. And sometimes, like today, it takes a couple hours to get everything done. It's got a lot of growth on it, and you know, the temperatures are still a little bit cooler, even though it's going to be like a high of 70 today. Still takes a little longer for that chemical to react sometimes. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate everyone who subscribed so far. If you haven't already, please subscribe, set that notification bell when I post out these new videos, share with your friends, comment, and let's help each other grow. I appreciate it. And I'm just wanting to rinse these windows off. I don't like it sitting on those windows for very long. So you can see that moss is all in those screens. Just as I expected, it's lifting off a whole lot easier now. Oh, no, I know I should have done that a long time ago, but now you know. I really thought downstream would take off most of this, but didn't realize just how thick it was on there. Hate to bore you guys with rinsing, but I think it's important. I mean, rinsing your job is definitely important, but just want you guys to really just see what I'm working with here today. My house washing documentaries. Well, at least it's coming off. Wow, what a difference. What a difference. Some of that is just where it's still falling down. So as it rains, it'll rinse off the rest of that moss. It's all dead now. And the neighbor has a ladder set up, and gonna grab that. And this is the house I'm going to be doing next, but I'm probably just going to have before and after pictures of this one, because with today's events on this house wash, it's just taking a little bit longer. And you can see this one's got some of that moss and all that too built up. So another day. I'll grab this, walk it over. Some of these spots that are up so much higher on this siding, I want to get off. Like I said, a lot of it is dead now, so it will rinse off in the rain, but we're going to go ahead and get that taken care of. Had that moss not been so bad, this job would have been finished. But moss wanted to be silly, give me a hard time. All right. Here we go, moss free, the way to be. The rest is just where it's falling down on the side. See, as it's kind of rinsing down, you'll see it on here, but it's not attached to anything. Yeah. All good to go. So now I'm going to finish the other side of the front of this house and jump over to the neighbors. Rope stuck on the bottom there, that's okay. We're gonna set this down. Here's a good after picture. And now we're going to hit the last little front of this house. And that'll be a wrap on this one. Gave me a little bit of a challenge. Took a lot longer than I anticipated, but that's real life. That's the way it goes sometimes. Got a little bit more cloud coverage again, so be able to let this sit and dwell. And there's a little spot on this porch, one of the columns, that I also wanted to go back over because I just wasn't quite happy with it right here. Jobbers all in there. Alright, set this back to rinse. Let that water catch back up a little bit. Hope all of you are having a great day. Hopefully you guys are able to learn something from today too. While that's sitting and my water's filling, look, you can already see that mildew on that weather stripping. Gone. This side's all cleaned up. Drying. The back side all cleaned up. And you can just see that's still just where the vinyl's drying. Everything looks good. That's just where some of that water just comes out of those little weep holes, but it'll all dry up. It's not dirt or anything like that, just water. Hit rinse. Yep. Hit rinse. If any of you guys are located in the south or curious where y'all are located, if you have to deal with mud daubers, wasps, fire ants. Nothing like washing a house and stepping in a fire ant bed. That'll get you moving. Some of that overspray off of here. Stream just a little bit more. Give it all a nice little rinse down. And that, my friends, is a wrap. So I appreciate it, guys. I know this has been a very long video. My battery's almost dead on this. Memory card's almost full. So this has been great. A wonderful experience on how bad that lichen algae can be. Sometimes the house washes take a lot longer than we anticipate, and that's okay. Kind of just plan for these things. Try doing it with just downstreaming. Need a little bit hotter mix, so I use the AR45 to get the rest of that lichen and some of that moss that was building up on the siding off. So it is all rinsed off. It is done. So now we're gonna go take care of the neighbor's house. That will be before and after pictures on that one, because like I said, this took a little bit longer. This is my only battery. It's dying. So if you guys haven't already, please hit like, subscribe, share. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. So long.